Maybe movies.
I hate nonsense.
Have they got friends over? Do Spider-Phants have friends? Maybe they're gearing up for a feasting frenzy.
Oh no.
Can I borrow your chainsaw?
I think he's using it.
Okay. I think he's used it.
Oh!
We seem to have half an effigy. Does it make it an F or an EG?
Makes it a niggy.
Yeah, definitely an Iggy.
You might as well have him up here then, mightn't we?
Because that looks even more natural.
It does, doesn't it?
Wearing Reeboks too. No product placement, of course, but...
Hello.
Very ungoth.
Welcome back to Maybe Movies. It is Wednesday. We are 4 days away from Halloween. It doesn't seem to have got any worse in here. Well, I say worse, it hasn't grown anymore.
There's a strange glow coming from over there.
Oh.
Do you think that could be the end of the Delirium? Are we about to fall into a white hole?
Oh no. Oh. You see, for half a second there I was feeling hopeful and then you went white hole. What do we do?
Just pray it isn't God.
It could be.
Oh God, no.
We are going to be looking at our Act 2 of Cabin Dead 2. Before we do, very quick shout out today. So we'll do one today for another audio horror channel for the Ghost Stories by Tony Walker.
I don't know that one.
He does a lot more contemporary stuff than, say, like Horror Babble. They tend to do a lot of classics. They do stuff from other authors as well, but a lot of the ones that Tony Walker does are his own work. He'll do his telling of the story, and then he'll do a little bit about the inspiration for the stories as well, as just a general kind of chat to the audience. So do check him out. And again, as always, link will be in the description below. We have an Act 2 to look at. Before we do get into it, a couple of things that I was thinking about that, well, we don't need to say a huge amount about them. I think they're just things that we need to acknowledge that we kind of missed in Act 1.
Such as?
First one is Ed's car.
Ed's car?
They would have driven to the cabin, so when the others turn up, they would have found Ed's car outside.
Right, now, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I feel like the car isn't there in the same way that Professor Knowby's car is.
Yeah.
The woods have made them disappear.
It's just, again, I just wanted to say, so that we say that we've acknowledged that there may have been a moment where they get there and go, oh, but do you want to go with the...
Let's make a compromise. I mean, instead of just not having the car there, maybe there's the scene when they first enter, and then you get the first minute or so of that, and then it'll pan outside of the cabin, round the back, into a copse of bushes, and there'll just be like the front corner of the fender sticking out from the bush or something like that.
Okay, so if you want to do that, then to add in a bit of a creep factor in that you see, as you say, you see the front fender of it, with like vines creeping over it, just dragging it slowly away.
Yeah, that's even better. Cool. That's even better.
The occasional blood spatter across the windscreen.
Could be.
As well, coming from the inside of the car. So it's like splattered on the inside. And on the mirrors. Because
we're saying that Ed became a dead eye and attacked Annie, we'd expect there to be a certain amount of destruction within the cabin when they first come in there.
Course,
a certain amount, yeah.
Okay, so, I mean, we're going to just slot that in there and just let them turn up. It's like, oh, should we stay?
The last guys who were in here partied awful fucking hard, didn't they?
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, is that an arterial spray across the wall?
Well, no, it's wine stain, isn't it?
Of course, wine stain.
Yeah. And you got Marty going, no.
No, that's not what wine looks like when it dries.
No, and I don't want to be here.
We just started to play the tape and we were trying to decide who was going to be the first person to get got.
Yes, we've waited for half an hour. Everything's going to kick off. Imagining we get the usual shot with the evil rising from the floor of the woods and charging towards the house, as it were. But as you say, who's first? Because they're all in the room together at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah, they're all in the room together.
See, I saw two ways that we could go with this. If you wanted to flip it on his head, you could go with... Rather than having one of the girls go, you could go with Marty. He's just go, no, I'm not listening to this, and he leaves the room. But I don't want to lose Marty that early.
Yeah, see, that's a good point, actually.
The other option is that if you're going with Jules as the slut character in this, that she goes, oh, this is boring. Come on, Kurt, and goes into the other room.
Right, okay.
Where that could play out.
So I've got two options there. Which way do we want to go?
Because if we do that with her going into the bedroom with Kurt, that could play out.
It would be an interesting twist if again we had Marty go first, but again he's such a good character. I don't think we want to lose him this early.
No, I think we should keep him until later, as in the last act.
You can feed slightly back into Cabin in the Woods here, and again Jules starts playing the tape, finds it's just this boring guy talking, and goes, "Nah, come on, Kurt, we're going in the other room." He then, because she's kind of acting a bit out of character, because she's probably had a few too many, he's a minute or so behind her because he's stopping to say, like, "Sorry, guys." She's not herself at the moment. Oh. And that's the moment when she gets got while she's waiting for him to catch her up.
But does she turn off the tape?
No. She just walks out.
No, she just walks out.
Right.
But I'm going to counter... that is an idea. I'm going to counter that with a slightly alternate version.
Okay.
They go into the other room, and a bit like Cabin in the Woods, they actually start making out. And so he's lying back, and she's kissing down his chest, and she's muttering under her breath as she goes lower and lower and lower, and then...
It gets dragged out.
Yeah.
No, just turns.
Oh, yeah, actually.
Mid-seduction, just turns mid-seduction. So it's like she's muttering about how wonderful he is, but as she gets lower and lower, the muttering gets more and more inaudible.
Oh, yes.
Claws. Yeah.
Thank you. I'll take that one.
I think maybe the stomach wound.
Stomach wound. All right.
Stomach wound would be good. She's going down on him,
mm-hmm.
and then she suddenly turns and then just does this.
I was thinking about it, but no, claws even better because the slow rend.
Yeah, and she slowly tries to pull apart his stomach muscles. As she's doing it.
Nasty.
I've been here all week. I've been here for several weeks, but you know what I mean.
I don't know. In my head, I kind of like immediately cut away to everybody else in the rest of the cabin.
And they hear the screaming.
Screaming, yeah.
Right, they could hear the screaming. They all get up and start running towards the room.
Probably get Marty go up and knock on the door, goes, "Hey, other people here.
And
show a bit of consideration."
Right.
Door flies open. And she's in the doorway, and he's like, "I fucking told you!"
Oh man, I told you this was so not a good idea.
Are we going to lose Kurt now here as well? He's going to be turned at this point as well?
I don't think we're going to lose him just yet.
It usually takes at least a little while, a few 5-10 minutes, for somebody who's been wounded by the Deadites to be taken over.
His head turns really quickly. He gets thrown against the wall, and then literally within the next couple of minutes, he's up.
Yeah.
So there are...
I think we should eat this one out a little bit, because obviously they're going to have to deal with Jules.
Yes.
And someone's got a twat or something. My vote is somebody picks up the tape recorder and just fucking lamps her.
See, if we do that, we break the film, because if we do that, we lose the tape recorder and we lose the other two recordings.
Right.
Do we? There's a big old tape recorder. That's like the size of a suitcase. You could lump someone around the head and it'll probably still work.
So, got it. So, Marty goes, rushes back in, he grabs hold of the tape recorder, swings around, smashes Jules around the face with it, and she falls back.
Honk.
Hits her again. He says, "I told you not to play the tape."
And then you've got Kurt lying on the bed. It's like, what are you doing to Jules, man?
That's just. Yes. Yeah, because it's, the beautiful irony of that. Yeah, I love it.
How are we going to take care of Jules, first of all, properly?
Oh, good question.
So Marty rushes in, beats her down with the tape, but she's a Deadite. Does she go all, "Oh, don't hurt me, Marty," and pretend to be human?
Yeah, I think she does.
Which would cause him to... Am I hallucinating?
In Cabin in the Woods, where she's going on about, we used to date when we were in, junior grade or whatever. Those sweethearts. That's what she's saying at this point.
Yes.
Yeah?
You don't want to hurt me. You don't want to hurt me. We were sweethearts in school. Come on.
Yeah, we kissed once. Bang!
Actually, I think that would really hurt Marty, because... I know it's only a tiny moment in Cabin in the Woods, but when she says that, you could see that really cut him.
Yeah.
The way she was making so light of it.
Mm-hmm.
So he had feelings for Jules. He just didn't want to admit to it.
Okay, so what we do then with this is the moment then where, as you say, he kind of gets drawn into it.
Mm.
I think one of the others then has to step in here. Either his name? I can't always forget.
Holden.
Holden or Dana. One of them grabs a fire poker.
As she's saying
But she looks normal.
Yeah, but as she... No, hang on.
All right, okay. Sorry.
Right, so you've got Marty standing there. He's suddenly hurt.
Yeah.
And she's smiling at him. And then the smile turns into a rictus grin.
Right.
And then And then she takes a swing at him with the claws, and that's when somebody comes in and hits her with the poker.
Okay, right. Yes, so she's flipped again. Right, yeah.
And then Marty's like in shock, gets pushed back.
So we know how we're developing the characters as we go through this. Because I know ultimately Dana is one of the characters who becomes one of the strongest characters out of a lot of them, but she takes longer to get there.
Yeah.
You're saying, is this a moment when Dana starts to show her true colour?
Do we want that to happen yet, or do we want to save that for later?
I was wondering the exact same question. I haven't come up with an answer yet.
See, I've had a thought about Dana. She could be the one who runs over to check on Kurt.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So they've got Jules on the floor.
Yeah.
Marty's knocked to the side. Holden's basically twatting
So it
her.
would be Holden then. Which actually gives the guy a little bit more to do than he had in Cabin in the Woods, to be honest.
does.
He was a little bit light on characterisation, wasn't he?
But he has a husband, Mel.
I was about to bring that up as well, actually. But he's doing it while he has a husband's bulge.
Oh dear, we're going down that route again, aren't we?
Right. We always do.
He rushes forward, and rather than hitting her, stabs her with a poker through the throat so she can't talk.
Ooh,
That
all
could
right.
be a good one. But I'm pretty sure that she would... Yeah, see, that could be a good one. But she does chatter a bit more, doesn't she? Let's face it. We could have her chatting a bit more and taunting them.
Just the thing, why are we killing her so suddenly?
We shouldn't kill her just yet.
Well, don't forget, even though we've kind of taken her out of play for the moment, because again, in Evil Dead 2, you think Linda's gone until she comes out of her grave again.
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
So there's no reason why we can't bring her back.
He goes for the throat. Doesn't quite hit the throat to shut her up, but he does hit her and he grazes her neck. And then as he pulls the poker away again, manages to stab her in the eye, which would silence her. It would kill
I'm
her.
trying to think, what would they do in that situation? Would they try and get her outside? Get her out of the cabin altogether?
Well, actually, yeah. I mean, they could all bound.
This comes back. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut in. This comes back to something you were saying last week. Deadites lay in wait. Jabba
So
through
she
the
goes
throat,
down like she's dead.
so she plays possum,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and they drag her
yes.
outside while Dana's looking after Kurt.
And it's at that point when Dana
Yeah.
realises Kurt is not long for this world because he's done more damage than they first thought. He's not bleeding out, but his wound is bubbling,
Yeah,
and it's looking a bit funky.
It's looking a bit funky, and maybe little black veins around the edges and stuff.
Yeah, the veins and everything, and he's like, "Oh, what the fuck did she do to me?" You know, all was good. You know, we were all good, and she just turned nasty.
Actually, I know we love Marty because he's a meta character, but in this particular situation, he's very, very high and kind of drunk, and just some weird shit happened, and he just brained one of his friends with a tape player. I imagine he's standing in the middle of this, just going, "Oh fuck, dude!
Yeah,
Oh fuck,
he's
dude!
he's in complete.
Is this
shock.
really happening? Did I take some shrooms?"
Yeah, he's completely. No, I think at this point, Marty suddenly comes to realisation, sobers up immediately. I've just twatted my friend with a fucking tape recorder.
Yeah,
I reckon he's going to flip. I reckon he's going to try and take the Winnebago and leave.
he has been telling them for the last half an hour to go.
That is a kind of a twist.
Also, we kind of need to reveal what does or does not happen with the tunnel as well, so this is kind of an opportune moment for it.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. Holden and Marty drag her outside. Holden goes back in because, again, he's a bit of a white knight. He wants to go and make sure that Kurt is... And obviously Kurt is his friend. He wants to make sure he's okay.
So-
Marty stood there going, "No, fuck this, man. Fuck this. I'm gone."
Yeah.
Grabs the keys.
So I'll just say that, like, as they're dragging him out, he's constantly saying to Holden, "Man, we've got to get out of here. Does nobody understand? We need to get the fuck out of here."
Yeah.
And then when Holden goes back into the house, he's like, "Screw this.
Yeah.
I've got the keys."
Yeah, let's go.
Or the keys are under the sun visor. We'll do that. Just to
Yes.
make it easy so we don't have to worry about who's got the keys.
Oh, again, because it was something that came up when we did the last one, because we are technically in the Cabin in the Woods setting for this one. So are we going in with that? Everything that happens in this is going to happen in this one night. We're not going to get the roll through onto the second night.
I think we're going to go in for the one night. And
Okay.
It feels
I've
like
also
it.
had an idea. They get into the Winnebago. They've got Kurt on the bunker in the back. Right? He's still bleeding a bit. He's looking a bit funky.
Yeah, okay.
Dana's looking after him. And then he's talking to Holden, who's in the passenger seat, so he's taking Dana's role over for this time being.
Yeah, okay.
Right, so they managed to get through the tunnel, or they're about to go through the tunnel. And then basically it's the point when he turns around and says, "We have to have a level head about this." And that's when Dana gets thrown across the room.
Because Kurt's just turned.
He's just turned and
Yeah.
he grabs Holden's head, snap,
Oh!
As they get to the tunnel,
That's when Kurt turns.
just before that,
Yeah.
Marty screeches the thing to a halt because the whole thing is caved in on the inside of the tunnel.
No. I think we should, as Kurt snaps Holden's neck, Marty turns around, looks,
Freaks the fuck out.
freaks out,
Crashes the window?
No, doesn't
Oh.
crash it.
Ah.
Screeches to a halt, and that's when the cave collapses, and they're all sitting there like,
He's coming up to there. He screeches to a halt because as he's seeing the mouth of the tunnel, just before the cave in, what he sees is "Join us" from the tunnel.
Course. Of
You
course.
get the tunnel, the mouth, the tunnel mouth.
Yeah.
Makes the mouth of the "Join us."
Okay.
That's what causes Marty to hit the brakes.
Oh, that's even better.
yeah.
Then you get the cave in, and that's when Kurt turns in the back.
But I do like the idea of Kurt snapping Holden's neck.
Yes.
Okay.
At this point, we're now 10-15 minutes into the second act.
Yeah.
So it's time for stuff to start. People have to
Oh,
die.
absolutely, yeah.
People do have to die.
Which leaves Dana
And Marty.
And obviously a deadite Kurt, and potentially, in the immediate future, a deadite Holden.
We could go with Marty ramming the Winnebago in reverse and crashing it into this side of the cliff face to try and trap them in the back, or whisking it round. But there's no way they can get out quick enough. Driving the Winnebago off the edge of the cliff, and him and Dana jump out.
They don't jump out. They don't find the time to jump out. They end up going down into the creek, and then they have to climb out while it's underwater, leaving Kurt in.
I don't think so. That's a hell of a drop.
That's like a ravine. It's not. It's
Oh,
not
yeah,
a
it is,
creek. It's
isn't
like it goes several hundred meters down.
Yeah,
Doesn't it? When Kurt drops, he goes all the way down.
All the way down, yeah.
All right, so compromise. So because of the thing, it's on the edge of the cliff, teetering.
Yeah.
So they have to get out.
So Marty slams it in reverse, swings around onto that bit where, in the original, Kurt does his jump, drives the back of it off the edge, and that's the bit that's teetering over. So they have to scramble to the front to either smash the windscreen or get out the front door.
Yeah.
Which will then tip, and then whilst having to deal with Kurt coming after them, they both manage to make it out, and then the Winnebago goes off.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, what do we, they can't.
So you can imagine almost like in a slow-mo shot as they climb out, just as the Winnebago teeters over the edge, and deadite Kurt has clawed his way to the front of the cabin, and he's hammering against the windscreen as it in slow-mo falls down, just screaming, "Swallow your soul! Swallow your soul!"
To the camera from above as the Winnebago falls away. Yeah. Nice. Like it. And where do they go from here? I mean, we're a little bit off the reservation here.
Well, they can't go forward.
So they can only go back to the cabin.
It's literally the only civilization there is that they know about in this area.
Yeah.
Everything else is the woods.
Yeah, but it's when they go back to the cabin, they realise they're the only ones left, or so they think.
Because Jules is going to come back. And also we've still got Annie and Ed to deal with, and obviously Henrietta.
Yes.
Are we saying, I don't know if we're going to get Dr. Knowby, Professor Knowby in this one, his ghost, because I was always wondering about that. Because I was always wondering, does he only appear because his daughter is in the cabin?
Look at Adam turn up as a bit of a twist.
I always thought that was the impetus for him to make that journey back from the other side, or to try and strive to come back from the other side, because not only does he obviously wants to stop the evil, but he wants to save his child.
On one hand, I know what you're saying. Like, in the story, theoretically, that's the reason. But whenever I watch that scene, that has always stuck to me of, the director doesn't know how to finish this. He needs a way to convey exposition.
We don't need it anyway, because we've already got the recording that Annie's made
Yes, we do.
on the tape.
Yes, we do.
They start making their way back. Get them chased again by the horror, chasing after them through the woods to get back to the
I
camp.
was going to say, isn't this the time to bring Jules back?
Yeah,
To chase them through the woods?
Mm-hmm. Like Ash gets picked up and carried off through the woods.
We could do that with Marty.
So we separate our characters.
Yeah, so we could do that with Marty. Have him thrown against a tree.
But
Yeah.
Dana was screaming.
But there's something in his special stash that means that he can overcome. No, I know Ash does it because the sun comes up and that's how he beats the possession, but we're not going to get that in this.
So, lacking the sun, we need to find a good reason for Marty to be shocked, emotionally shocked out of that state.
Jules could snap him back to reality. He just hears her calling his name. And she's like, Marty, why did you hurt me so? What did I ever do to you?
Yeah, that's not going to work though, is it? Because if he's already been turned, then she wouldn't care because they're both dead.
I was going to say, when did the Deadites do that to each other?
I mean, again, that might not work as an idea as I suggested it. I mean, honestly, I think out of the two, I'd prefer to see where we go with the two of them getting back to the cabin. I think it's an interesting setup that we've got the two of them there, and also because they are the two people who survived to the end of Cabin in the Woods.
We kind of maybe already touched on this. Maybe he gets slammed into the trees like he's going to be possessed, but he's just too fucking high.
Yeah.
So his special stash does have magical properties.
Yeah, why not?
So while that's happening to him, Dana gets back to the cabin.
And just to punctuate the point, when he gets dropped to the ground again, he pulls a little tiny stub from behind his ear and goes... That was gnarly.
So I think while this is all going on in the woods, this is where we will get something approximating the scene with Ash going slightly crazy in the cabin on his own, because Dana's in there on her own.
Yes, so we could have the thing like with the weird sounds where it's the whole cabin is trying to reach her or something.
Yeah. Maybe she sees the spirit of Knowby.
Yeah,
on her own.
Yes.
Maybe she goes back into the cabin and she opens the doors to see see if anyone has actually made it back. And when she opens the door, Knowby's spirit is there.
Knowby's there whilst Marty's out in the woods being slammed around. Yeah, I like that. That gives everything something to happen. I am going to say it feels like we're starting to reach the end of the second act at this point.
Does.
I don't know where to finish it exactly.
We could end it there.
Just there? Yeah, with Knowby's message.
Yeah, with Knowby's message.
Yeah, that's a turning point, isn't it?
Before we get to the end of Act 2, I think we need to get the second recording, which then brings Henrietta into it.
But no. We don't have to do it now. We can do that at the start of Act 3. Because if we get this now, with Dana...
Right, so Knowby's ghost doesn't point to the fireplace, he points to the tape recorder.
Are we saying that Marty has made it back to the cabin by now, by the end of Act 2?
Not just yet.
No, he's still out in the woods.
Okay.
That feels like a good way to leave it for the third act, with them separated.
Okay.
I'm cool with that.
It gives us a bit of heightened tension, doesn't it?
Yep.
So we see Henrietta, or that's going to happen at the start of Act 3?
That's going to start at the Act 3.
All the rest of it is going to happen in Act 3.
Okay.
So Act 3 will start with them playing the tape and then us getting to that point where things then escalate.
Well, somehow we've managed to get to the end of Act 2. Don't ask me how.
He's on the wine.
Anyway, we're getting slightly off point. So, yes, we will be back on Friday, as always, as we are going to try and see if we can bring this movie to the final curtain. I have no idea where this is going. It doesn't resemble anything like what we started with. But hey, we'll see what happens. Until then, have a good couple of days and take care.
As always, guys, TTFN.
Laters.
Ba 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 ba.